Coming up today on NFL Daily, we are talking about a potential trade involving Justin Fields leaving the Chicago Bears. Also, Kirk Cousins, could he be headed out? And is there one specific place that comes to mind where he could be a potential fit? We'll discuss. Also, the latest on Dalvin Cook's status, as he just arrived in New York but might not be staying for very long. We'll explain in a matter of moments. You want your team to win this weekend? Here's what I want you to do. Go ahead and like today's video. Don't jinx it. Don't take any chances on it. If your team loses and you didn't like today's video, I don't want it to be your fault. So why even test your luck at that? Like today's video, and we'll get started with today's show. Justin Fields to the Atlanta Falcons. Is that a possibility? How realistic is that? The Athletic's Jeff Howe has proposed a deal to send the Chicago Bears QB to Atlanta. Why Atlanta? Here's more from Howe. The Bears are tracking toward the number one pick in the draft, either with their own selection or from the Panthers. So they're in play for USC's Caleb Williams or North Carolina's Drake May. With major changes likely on the horizon again, it might be best to maximize Fields' value. Meanwhile, the Falcons were linked to Fields, who's from Georgia, before the 2021 draft, and it seems like he'd be a pretty solid fit for Arthur Smith's offense. So the idea that Howe is proposing is sending Fields to Atlanta, and the Bears receive Taylor Heinicke, a second-round pick in 2024, and a conditional third-round pick in 2025. And I got to tell you, I was a little surprised to see this trade idea, but the more I think about it, it actually makes quite a bit of sense, and here's why. Desmond Ridder does not look very good right now. The Falcons could use some help at the quarterback position for a team that is playoff caliber. They have a very realistic chance to win that division, and all you got to do is get in the tournament and then work everything else from there. If the Falcons can get that quarterback play and elevate that team another step, watch out. Maybe the Falcons could surprise some people. You look at the numbers here. And although Justin Fields got off to a slow start to 2023, he has been miles better than what we've seen out of Desmond Ridder. Completion percentage edge to Desmond Ridder, sure. But look at the touchdown-to-interception ratio. 11-6 compared to 6-6. That's a big difference. Not to mention, you factor in the running ability of Justin Fields as well, pair him up with Bijan Robinson, all of a sudden, Atlanta might look like a completely different football team potentially. So, what about this? Should the Bears trade Justin Fields? If they're going to replace him with a young quarterback anyway, should they trade him to a team like Atlanta and try to get something out of him right now? What do you think? It's our pinned comment today. Why for yes, in for no way in the comment section. Tell us what you think. Kirk Cousins, could he be taking his talents to South Beach? NBC Sports' Peter King this week in his Football Morning in America column suggested that there could be a trade on the horizon to send the Vikings QB to Miami. More from Peter King. I think it's not impossible Kirk Cousins gets traded, but I think it's unlikely unless an injury quarterback forces a playoff contending coach very familiar with Cousins who could play to his strengths to look for a quarterback. If Miami loses to Tua before the October 31st trade deadline, who knows if Mike McDaniel would want to roll the dice with Cousins for the rest of the year. There's one other factor. Cousins has a no-trade clause. He's very likely not going to waive it, no matter how bad the situation gets in Minnesota in the next 2 weeks, unless it's, as I said, to a coach he knows well with an offense he could master, and that could potentially be the Miami Dolphins. More on Cousins in just a moment, but first, today's show is sponsored by Prize Picks. Prize Picks, the place to go when you're talking about daily fantasy sports and daily fantasy sports made easy. Here's how it works. You choose 2 players or more, and it's real simple. More or less on the given amount that is assigned to them, whether it's receptions, rushing yards, passing yards, receiving yards. We got it all for you. Here's what I'm putting down on Prize Picks this week. I got Baker Mayfield hitting more than 221.5 passing yards. I got Kirk Cousins hitting more than 232.5 passing yards in their matchups this week. You can join me on Prize Picks, and you can get a $100 deposit match when you go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use the promo code CLNS for that deposit bonus. The link is in the comments and the description of today's video. Prize Picks, proud partner of NFL Daily here on Chat Sports. Now, I'll say this. As far as that potential possibility goes, of a couple dominoes having to fall, the first of those is losing Tua. Not wishing anything bad on Tua. We want to see him play and stay healthy and everything. But this is actually a plausible scenario for a trade for Kirk Cousins here because we've seen Tua have problems of staying healthy. I mean, any given day, something could happen to Tua realistically. That's one possibility. But another team I would bring up within that same division to potentially give a phone call for Cousins is the New York Jets. And although there's not the familiarity that there is with the Miami Dolphins and their coaching staff, if you're Cousins and the Jets come calling and you look at that team, who's literally just a quarterback away. They got the best defense in football. They got some playmakers on that offense. They just need a quarterback. That would be very tempting. And maybe you sit behind Zach Wilson for a couple of weeks to learn the offense, and then you roll from there. But Cousins, to me, that's the team that has my interest potentially. He's off to a very good start to 2023. 14 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, close to 1,700 yards passing. Cousins is playing very good right now. So for me, that's the team that I'd keep my eyes on because there's no way Minnesota is going to bring him back next year and sign him to an extension. Will Cousins get traded or not? T for trade, K for keep. Get in that comment section. Tell us what you think will happen to Cousins there. Folks, we are here on NFL Daily by Chat Sports, bringing you daily coverage. It's like it's in our name or something, with news and rumors. We're doing live shows, our Red Zone channel on Sundays, Q&A mailbags, and more. Subscribe now as we have the National Football League covered each and every day. I want to get 20 subs off today's video. Make it happen. We'll see you right here next time. All right, Dalvin Cook. What is next for Dalvin? According to new reports, there are multiple teams interested in a potential trade for the New York Jets running back who just arrived not too long ago, but has already seen his role significantly reduced with Breece Hall getting back to 100% full strength and health at this point going forward. So what does that mean for Dalvin? Does he still have somewhere that he could fit in and see significant playing time potentially? Well, it sounds like that some teams are at least picking up the phone and calling the New York Jets and saying, hey, you know what? We actually might have some interest here in Dalvin Cook, that they might find a way to potentially fit him in. Listen to this from ESPN. Some teams are curious to see what, if any, the Jets will do with running back Dalvin Cook, whose role is diminished now that Breece Hall is back to full-time duty. How about that? Cook joined the Jets this offseason after 6 years with the Vikings, 4-time Pro Bowler. His contract is a 1-year, $7 million deal, but keep in mind the Jets have already paid him some of that money, so it is cheaper than that. So I think then the next question becomes, for a team that is interested in Dalvin Cook, no pun intended. I'm lying. It is pun intended. Is Dalvin Cook washed or is he cooked? I mean, really, is he being underutilized in New York and they're just working Breece Hall and that's their guy and Dalvin Cook's been pushed aside, or has Dalvin Cook lost his step? I honestly am not 100% confident either direction. Personally, I don't think he's necessarily cooked. The numbers say that he hasn't gone off to a good start this year. 2.8 yards per carry, 109 total yards, 39 carries. But granted, it's a small sample size. The team that I'm watching for potentially to have some interest in Dalvin Cook that's got my attention is the Cleveland Browns. Losing Chubb, they brought in Kareem Hunt. He hasn't looked great, and the Browns are trying to go all in and make the postseason. look out for Cleveland potentially to be a team to make a move towards Dalvin Cook. More on Dalvin Cook in one moment, but first, is Dalvin Cook actually cooked? Type C for cooked, NC for not cooked. What do you think? Let me know what you think about Dalvin Cook and his situation right now. I think it's too small of a sample size to say that he is officially cooked personally. But we'll see if he gets another opportunity elsewhere, because it seems like his days with the Jets are numbered. If you enjoyed today's show, hit the like button on the video. We certainly would appreciate it. Love having you guys here on NFL Daily. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining.